All right, let's get on to this topic as we roll into this final hour of the show. ASU police make 72 arrests after a pro-Palestinian protester set up tents in Tempe. I want to be very clear. We've had, I wouldn't say we've had conversations, correspondence with ASU. ASU wants people to know a couple of things, and I think it's the right thing to do. ASU wants people to know that many of the people involved in the protests are not students at Arizona State University. That's first and foremost. So you have people invading the campus. They have no business there, starting trouble and disrupting what's going on campus while students are getting ready for graduation and everything else. Not cool. Not a good thing to do. And secondly, ASU has had a history of this in recent years of nipping things in the bud before they get to be bigger than they need to be. They send a very clear message. Arizona State University, under the leadership of Dr. Crow, has done a very good job, in my opinion, of allowing for voices from everyone. There doesn't seem to be inequality in the voices. You look at what's happening at Columbia University. You're not just talking about people that are pro-Palestinian. These are anti-Semites, and there's a big difference. Let me explain the difference. They are flying the Hamas flag. On October 7th, Hamas mutilated and murdered Israelis indiscriminately. There was no such thing on October 7th as a civilian. And so even if you are saying to yourself, and I know there are some out there that are saying, what is happening now goes too far. And if I don't agree with you, by the way, but I understand your point. You're not pro-Israel, you're not pro-Palestinian necessarily. What you're seeing is death and you want it to stop. That's not what these people are doing. They are flying the Hamas flag. Big difference. Big difference. Northeastern University, they dispersed the crowd at Northeastern University while they chanted death to Jews. The head of the guy that was kind of leading the protest at Columbia University defended their actions by saying that Zionists, that's anybody that believes that the Jews and the Israelis have a right to the land of Israel, if that's the Zionist state, that Zionists, and I would be considered a Zionist because I believe that that is Israel's land, that people like me don't deserve to live. He defended the murder of some people, saying sometimes the death of people is good. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but that's what they did. So finally, after all of that, it took how long of all of this going on before Columbia University threw that person off campus? It's taken until today before they gave an ultimatum of when protesters had to abandon what they were doing. It doesn't matter that they're interrupting classes. Classes had to be held online and not held in person. What it's going to do to college graduations. You have these same protesters that disrupted the correspondence dinner for the White House and other things. We played some audio from a protest as there was during Hanukkah, as in Washington, D.C., where there were people leaving a Hanukkah celebration, and there were people in cars going by calling them occupiers, saying death to you occupiers, calling for the death of Jews once again. So here at Arizona State University, why is it different? Well, it's different because bad behavior isn't tolerated no matter who it is that's behaving badly. And I think that is a credit to leadership at Arizona State University. When you post online that your demands, including disbanding the Arizona State Police Department and the Tempe Police Department, you're ridiculous human beings. When you demand the resignation of the president of the university, a president of the university that has had that university being named the most innovative university on the planet multiple times, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. When you say we have to divest in any investment in anything in Israel and no longer participate in exchanges of students or professors from Israel, you're ridiculous. Your demands are dumb. That's one thing. You have a right to demand them. Go on social media, make your demands. You have those rights. I'll argue with them. I'll laugh at them. I would have you on the show to try to defend them. You have a right to your opinion. When you are in a place where you're obviously trespassing, when you don't have any reason to be on the campus of a university, Arizona State University or otherwise, and you plant your flag by putting up tents and you're told you have to leave and you don't leave, your items should be destroyed and you should be arrested, and 72 people were. It sends a message of what will be tolerated and won't. Dr. Crow and the leadership at Arizona State University has set a standard. We allow people to speak. We want everyone to feel comfortable in what they believe. There's a big difference. I have heated discussions with people all the time, and I know many of us do. Whether it's something as simple as sports, and I love this team and I hate that team, who's the greatest basketball player of all time, and why is it Michael Jordan and not LeBron James? That's a great conversation. We understand them. All of this stuff. I love those conversations, whether it's something as serious as a topic like abortion, or it's something as trivial in the minds of some as what our favorite sports team is. I grew up in a place where I'm a Miami Hurricane, but Florida loves college football. I've got close friends that are diehard Gators and friends that are diehard Seminoles, and we argue with each other all football season, and when we play each other, the smack talk is unending. In the end, nobody behaves horribly, and if they do, everybody says that went too far. Here you have situations where people believe, and they are all self-aggrandizing, self-indulgent fools, that they are going to go and they are going to disrupt the lives of other people. Well, I am so glad campus leadership stood up and said, you're not doing that here. By the way, these very same people were angry when somebody they disagree with politically was scheduled to speak on their campus whatsoever. You do remember that at Arizona State University, there were students that were involved in a campus meeting, a government meeting, student government meeting, and Jewish students were in attendance, and people began to throw rocks at the windows. And the students in that meeting, Jewish students and otherwise, had to be escorted out of the meeting room because of the protesters outside. At some point, you've got to put your foot down and say this behavior is unacceptable. And if you look at what's happened, Arizona State University once again did it much sooner than Columbia or Northeastern or these other universities. And I think it's going to bode well for them in the future. I think you're going to see more diversity on their campus. I think you're going to see more voices on their campus, more reasonable discussions, which is exactly what you're supposed to do in college. In college, you take all of your ideas that you have in the childhood ideas you have at 18 years old. You're still thinking much like a child. You lived in your parents' home, but you're going to an institution of higher learning, and you're going to have an opportunity to spread your wings. There's a huge difference between 18 and 22 when you leave that campus. And there should be room for growth and room for different opinions and how you argue and debate. And I think Arizona State does a great job of examining how you debate. I think it's a great example and good for them. So somebody passed the word on to Arizona State leadership. Good for you.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.